Hello guys, Blagaga here with another video about new cards from Raging Tempest. But I also wanted to include all the other cards from Raging Tempest that I didn't talk about in specific in one of my last videos. So if you just here to see the new cards that just leaked today, the new Juunishishi spell and trap cards for example, at the bottom right corner on the screen you will now see a time mark. You can just jump there and you will be informed about the new cards. All of you are not familiar with the old cards, here's a quick recap. So first of all we talk about the Foolish Spirit with Belongings. It's a normal spell card and it lets you send one spell or trap card from your deck to the graveyard. This was long overdue that such a generic card exists. There are so many spell and trap cards that have effects in the graveyard and there's so much use for this card and so many different decks that I could dedicate a whole video to a card like this. I just want to say this is a really good card and I really hope it's not a secret rare because, as I already said, there are so many uses that I really hope this is a super rare or rare in the set. And yeah, it's definitely a really good card. Next we have Cyber Angel support, kinda. Cyber 2 Turbo is a level 5 Earth Warrior monster that you can special summon by tributing one card in your hand or on your side on the field, and then if it's tributed itself you can add one ritual spell card from your graveyard to your hand. This would have been so much better as a level 6 light fairy type monster, but I guess it's a grown up version of Cyber 2-2, but its design is so bad it doesn't fit in the archetype, especially the level that it's not level 6 just hurts the deck. Maybe as a one-off in the deck, but I don't know, this card could have been much better. It will rarely or not don't see play at all at the current point. It's sad. Next we have two spirit cards. One of them is called Okami. It's a spirit itself with 1800 attack and 600 defense. It's an aqua spirit monster and you can target one face-up monster on the field, also your opponent's monsters of course, and that monster is treated as a spirit monster and it returns to the owner's hand during the end phase. This is kinda cool, you can do certain shenanigans with this. You can also use Legacy of Yatagarasu to draw 2 cards because your opponent controls a spirit monster, and there's a lot of cool usage for the E-Spirit deck thanks to this card. So I actually like it as a single removal card and it's actually much better. You could even use it in a normal deck just to remove extra deck monsters from the game, because you couldn't just target a fusion monster and then during the end phase it just returns to the extra deck. Now it's really slow, but it is removable and it is generic and that's always nice. The other spirit support card is called E-Spirit Power Sport and increases the attack of all spirits on your side on the field by 500 attack and 500 defense. So pretty good stat boost right there. And if a wind monster returns to your hand, you can activate this effect. You add from your deck to your hand one spirit monster or one ritual spell card. So this is pretty cool because you could splash in some Mist Valley cards for example and then return them to the hand. That's actually a decent card, although it's a little bit slow, but it's a searcher. Then we have a fusion for Ancient Gears. This is the Ancient Gear Chaos Giant. It has 4500 attack and 3000 defense and it requires 4 Ancient Gear monsters to be summoned. Now you can also summon this with Overload fusions, which is probably the easiest way. While this card is in the monster zone, it's unaffected by the effects of spell and trap cards and your opponent cannot activate monster effects during the battle phase. But he still can use monster effects during the main phase, which is the main weakness of this card. And this card can attack all monsters your opponent controls each. And it also inflicts piercing damage, so this thing is obviously a game winner if you bring this out against a huge board. Like you don't want to have like 4 monsters on the board if in the late game against Ancient Gear, because otherwise they summon the thing and they just OTK you. And if you cannot activate any cards during the main phase, well, you just attack them. Like that's the main problem. Like you can't hardly do anything against this card. It's like a Joker, the boss monster of the deck. Then we have a really interesting card that I could make a whole video about. This is called the Deck Destruction Virus of Shadows, and it allows you to tribute one dark monster with 2000 or more defense and check your opponent's hand, all monsters they control, and all cards they draw until the end phase of the third turn after this card's activation, and destroy all monsters with 1500 or less defense. In my opinion, this card is a little bit overrated, but there could be an upcoming format where this card is really broken. But at the current point I have to say this is probably best in Dark Lords and in Dark Magician decks. And it is really good against Metal Force or Pendulum decks in general, in my opinion. Also keep in mind the monsters are destroyed, so the effect of a lot of cards triggers if they are sent to the graveyard, and especially if they are destroyed. So I'm not sure how strong this card really is. All I can say is that a lot of decks actually benefit if their monsters are in the graveyard, so the use of this card is limited, but it can be a really strong control card, especially in Dark Lords, as I already mentioned. So let's wait and see. This is one of these cards that's really hard to see how powerful it really is. Maybe it's completely broken, maybe it won't do anything, or just will see side deck play. Then we finally have a new Shadowr card, so you can target one monster, this monster gains 1000 attack, then you can send one Shadowr monster from your hand to the graveyard, and then you can flip that monster face down during the end phase. So I don't know how good this card really is in Shadowrs. It allows you to do some stuff, but the main problem that I have is if you activate this on the fusions, they are flipped face down. That's not an effect that you actually want on your fusions. So I have to actually say this card could have been designed better. Like it's not that great, but let's wait and see what Shadowrs will also get in the set, cause Falco is a tuner, that they get a synchro monster in the set. It's an okay card in my opinion, but Shadowrs actually deserve better. And now we get actually to the new cards that were just leaked yesterday and today. So we have Performable Return Titan. This is a level 2 Earth Beast Warrior type Pendulum effect monster. It has a scale of 3, its stats are really low, 400 attack, 600 defense. And you can only use the Pendulum effect of Performable Return Titan once per turn. So its a Pendulum effect is you can target one performable card you control, return it to the hand, but you cannot activate that card or card with the name for the rest of the turn. Now this is really good because you can return Joker to your hand to use its effect during the next turn. Again, of course you activate this effect during the main phase 2, after you attack with it. And also its monster effect is, when this card is destroyed by battle, you can target one card on the field, return it to the hand. So you can return any card on the field to the hand if this card is destroyed by battle. And it actually seems pretty nice to bounce back opponent's extra deck monsters. Then we have a card that is not from Raging Tempest but from Fusion Enforcers. This is Predator Plant Chimera Rafflesia. It's a plant type monster, it's level 7, has 2500 attack, 2000 defense, and it's a fusion monster and requires one Predator Plant monster and one Dark monster. Once per turn you can target one monster on the field with a lower level than this card or a level that is equal to this card, banish it. That is pretty easy because Predator Plants allow your opponent with their effects to reduce their levels. So that's pretty easy and pretty strong in this deck. Also during attack declaration, when this card battles an opponent's face-up monster, you can activate this effect. Until the end of this turn, your opponent's monster loses 1000 attack. Also this card gains 1000 attack. This isn't once per turn. That means that one Predator Plant allows you to attack all monsters that have Predator counters on them. If your opponent has two monsters in face-up attack position which has 1000 or less attack, this thing can auto-K your opponent, because the first attack will inflict 3500 damage and the second one 4500 damage, and maybe you could mix in Black Garden in this deck. And the last effect is during your standby phase. After this card was sent to the graveyard, you can add one Polymerization spell card or Fusion spell card, accept different wave motion from your deck to your hand. You can add instant fusion, you can add the normal polymerization, and also here you can even add super polymerization from your deck to your hand. This seems really strong to me. Especially against dark decks in the OCG, this card is actually pretty damn strong. So I was just done making this video when a new card was announced, and it's called Predator Planter. It's a continuous spell card for Predator Plants, which also will be in Fusion Enforcers, like the new Fusion monster that we just talked about. And its effect is actually pretty good. So During your standby phase you have to pay 800 life points, otherwise it's destroyed. But once per turn you can also special summon one Predator plant monster from your hand or your graveyard, but its effects are negated. But still you can use it for a fusion summon. That's actually a pretty good card, and I think that one of the Predator plants has an effect. If it's sent to the graveyard, you can put one Predator counter on each of your opponent's monsters. If that effect still triggers, if it's sent to the graveyard by a fusion, then we are talking like, then this card is ridiculously good. Yeah. Because then this card and that other monster are much stronger, because you can put Predator planters counters on your opponent's monsters and then OTK him with the new fusion monster that we just talked about. Wow. This is really good, especially with Black Garden. Like, Black Garden seems like a ridiculously strong card suddenly. And now to the cards that were just leaked today. So first of all we have Go Tuna. Maybe some of you remember that in the first video about Raging Tempest I talked about a card, a promo card that was called Go Tuna, that was leaked for Raging Tempest. Now this is this card, it's called Go Tuna, just an R at the end. It has only a really small effect, but it's actually pretty decent. So it's a level 1 tuna monster. When this card is normal summoned, you can special summon one tuna from your hand or graveyard, but its effects are negated. So you can special summon another tuna. Now unfortunately, as I already mentioned, this card is a tuna itself, but I think this works with Doppel Warrior really good. It's a Earth Beast monster, and I think this is kinda nice if you want to go into Naturia Beast, for example. This is also an option. Just worth mentioning, by the way. So this is kinda nice. And last but not least, the thing that all of you probably have waited for and watched this video for, the new Juunishishi spell and trap cards. And I thought that E-Spirits were part of the Draco ruler lore. Guess I was wrong. This archetype, the Juunishishis, are actually the Earth XYZ archetype that is in the set. That means that we also get the Earth Draco ruler in the set. And I also can tell you that we have a picture of this card. Not an effect, but a picture. But let us first look at the spell cards. So first of all we have a feed spell, and as all the feed spell from the lore, this increases the attack of the archetype by 300 points and defense. It's called, by the way, Zodiac Sign. And the second effect is your opponent cannot target Beast Warrior type monsters you control for an attack except the Beast Warrior type monster you control with the highest attack. You can special summon your 0 attack, 0 defense XYZ monsters, and you don't have to be worried that they're overrun. You just attach them every turn again with materials until they're strong, and this is kinda nice effect. But the last effect of this card is the reason why you want to play it and why it's actually really strong. So once per turn, if a Juunishishi monster you control would be destroyed by a card effect, you can destroy one other monster you control on your hand instead. You can destroy Ram or Rabina in your hand because you don't have to control them. Blow them up, get the effects of, add one spell or trap card from your graveyard back to your hand, or special summon from your deck one Juunishishi monster. Keep in mind you cannot search this card with Rabina or send it to the graveyard or add it back to your hand with Rabina's effect, because it's Zodiac Sign, it's not a Juunishishi card. But still, this is a really good card in my opinion. It protects your monsters, and this is crazy. The next card is in my opinion the best one. At first I wasn't that impressed, but then I noticed something that makes this card actually pretty damn powerful. So it's a continuous spell card, it's called Juunishishi no Kaioku, and you can only use the first effect of Kaioku once per turn. But I actually want to talk about the second effect first. So if this card is destroyed by a card effect, you can send it to the graveyard. You can target one Juunishishi XYZ monster you control, attach this card from your graveyard to the target as XYZ material. So pretty nice effect. The first effect makes this card really strong. You can target one face-up card you control, destroy it, and if you do special summon one Juunishishi monster from your deck. As I already said, you can destroy Ram and Rabina on your side on the field, get their effects off. But what makes this card even better is you can blow it up yourself. And if you control an XYZ monster, you can attach it immediately. This is crazy good. Like, this card not only is a rotor for the archetype, this card is just much better. You can also blow up your fire formation cards. This This card is great. This card is really, really good. It gives you a field advantage. If your opponent negates your normal summon, for example, you can just activate it, destroy itself, and then special summon another from your deck. This is a really good card. It's 3 off in the deck for sure. And then the last card is the trap card. And now before we take a look at the effect, look at the left corner of this card. I know the resolution of this card is not that great, but just look at this Earth Draco ruler. It looks badass as fuck. Damn, I don't swear normally on this channel, but this time I just have to do this. Like, holy crap, this thing looks like a beast. We don't know anything about the Earth Draco ruler at this current point, but damn, that artwork. I can't wait for this card. So, it's a normal trap card. It's called Juunishishi no Hagu. The first effect is target one Juunishishi XYZ monster you control, attach one Juunishishi monster from your deck to the target as XYZ material. Now you might think, okay, whatever, this card is not good at all. What should I supposed to do with this? So I get one material that's not good. But you can attach the Viper from your deck, and the Viper is such a good target for this card because that basically means that your monster gets 1200 additional attack, and if it battles an opponent's monster, that monster is banished. Like, that's a huge risk. If your opponent attacks any of your Juunishishi monsters, he has to risk that his monster is banished and the effect doesn't target of Viper, and you also take less damage, or his monster is even destroyed by battle and then banished. So this is a huge risk as the opponent has to take into consideration every single time. And the second effect is, during either player's turn, except during this turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 5 Juunishishi cards with different names in your graveyard, shuffle them all 5 into the deck, then draw 1 card. Now this is of course a very strong recycle effect, so this card allows you basically to not use have 15 Juunishishi cards in your extra deck. This card allows you to basically get some effects of. It's definitely a decent card. I wouldn't play this as a 3 off, but maybe as a 1 or 2 off in the deck, and it's actually pretty nice to surprise your opponent with Viper that is attached directly from your deck to this card. So also you can attach, for example, Mole Rat and then get Mole Rat's effects off. So it's an additional card. In my opinion, this is the worst support card, but that artwork, it's amazing. So let me know what you think about these cards. I know at the start I talked about a lot of cards that were already known, but I've felt the need to just simply talk about those cards because we didn't discuss them on this channel. And yeah, I just want to have all the cards on this channel one by one. So that's it for today. I really hope you saw some new cards. If you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate if you like or sub to my channel. Thank you for watching. I'm out. Bye.